More and more lawmakers are now actively advocating for additional stimulus measures for the American people. In this video, we will delve into why this movement is gaining momentum, what implications it holds, and when such stimulus initiatives could potentially materialize. I urge you to stay with us throughout this entire video as I'll provide an in-depth explanation of the unfolding situation. Before I dive into the latest updates, I kindly request that you take a moment to hit that like button if you value the daily updates and news I bring to you. Now let's get into the details. So what's all this talk about additional stimulus, and how can the federal government possibly afford it? Well, it gets intriguing here. Several Senate Democrats and a handful of Republicans in both the House and the Senate are asserting that a bipartisan bill aimed at enhancing border security and offering financial support to Ukraine is an absolute necessity. You might be wondering, how does a bill concerning Ukraine and border security relate to providing more stimulus for American citizens? Here's where it gets interesting. Lawmakers are expressing concerns about certain states, notably Illinois, New York, California, and even Texas, facing overwhelming challenges due to the influx of illegal immigrants. These immigrants are utilizing resources intended for state residents, creating strains on the local economy. In response, these lawmakers are advocating for additional funding to these states to help them offer tax credits, stimulus checks, nutrition assistance, healthcare improvements, and more. The reason for these pleas is the significant impact illegal immigration is having on these states, making border security a pressing concern. I mentioned this recently, and I understand some might be resistant to the idea, but it's worth noting that a border wall is indeed under construction because states are losing essential funding. While the Biden administration cites congressional appropriations from 2019 as a reason for building the wall, the situation has evolved since then, and many believe that President Biden could exercise discretion in reallocating those funds. Earlier this week, the Biden administration announced its intention to continue constructing about 20 miles of the border wall, which, notably, was initiated during the Trump administration. When asked why the administration decided to proceed with construction, 3 years into his presidency, the response cited congressional obligations. However, lawmakers maintain that the primary objective of the border wall construction is to slow down illegal immigration, an aspect the Biden administration has been cautious about stating openly. It's crucial to understand that the current administration has been actively working to infuse more stimulus and relief into the economy. Just this week, we saw an additional $9 billion allocated for student loan forgiveness. There have been initiatives such as the one-year deferment of student loan payments, slated to start on October 1, 2023, and an attempted increase in Social Security benefits through executive action. Yet, the administration has also faced criticism for its approach to immigration, where illegal immigrants are perceived as receiving benefits at the expense of legal residents. Now, with several states becoming overwhelmed, they are turning to the Biden administration for assistance. However, securing additional funding from Congress requires a solid justification, which can't merely be that the states are overrun by illegal immigration, as this wouldn't sit well with the Republican Party. Some Senate Democrats who wish to remain anonymous have suggested that the most viable approach at this juncture is to slow down the influx of migrants. The consensus is that the nation has indeed been dealing with a substantial influx, with an estimated 5,000 to 8,000 individuals crossing the border daily. This raises the question of how stringent the border policy will be for Republicans, considering that Democrats aim to secure funding for Ukraine and potentially additional stimulus for states. In essence, we should prepare for the prospect of a new bill that not only provides increased funding for Ukraine, but also enforces stricter border policies and potentially additional funding for states and cities, along with the overarching government funding bill. The pressure on the administration is mounting as they realize they must present a sound case for additional relief from Congress, given the challenges stemming from immigration and the drain on state resources. In conclusion, we are witnessing a growing chorus of demands from Democrats and state governors for more stimulus, driven by the strain on resources caused by insufficient border policies and high immigration numbers.